The Amaretto Sour. Is it a good drink? Is it a bad drink? It really does depend on how you make it, and crucially, whether it's balanced. So often an Amaretto Sour can be really kind of sickly sweet and poorly balanced, but if you make this drink well, it can be a really delightful drink for you to enjoy. So today I'm going to show you my favorite recipe for the drink, which makes some subtle changes to the original template, but actually I think makes a massive difference. So let's get started making an Amaretto Sour, and welcome to Essential Cocktails. Okay, so when we think back to a more classic sour template, something like a whiskey sour, something like a pisco sour, rum sour, gin sour, etc., it tends to have a fairly fixed template, which is a spirit base, citrus as your kind of acidity, some kind of sweetener, potentially some bitters, and then maybe something to give it that really nice emulsified creamy texture, such as aquafaba or egg white. When we move into the world of an Amaretto sour, this changes quite significantly because actually Amaretto has a fairly high amount of sweetness in itself. So even though this is the base ingredient, it also serves pretty much as the sweetener in the drink as well. So we're going to be building this around Disaronno Amaretto, which is where the drink was originally designed. It was in a 1970s promotional campaign, and the original spec was just Amaretto and lemon juice. This kind of makes sense. You're bringing balance to the very sweet ingredient, which is the Amaretto, which is an almond liqueur. But actually what we're going to do today is kind of build some layers around it, add some seasonings, which is something I often talk about, and just create a really well-balanced drink, which also has some slight flavor accents, which I think really elevate the drink. So obviously at the heart of the drink is going to be our Amaretto, but I'm actually going to cut our base with a bourbon or rye, ideally a higher proof bourbon or rye, such as Bullet, which is 45% ABV. And this just kind of takes the edge off the sweetness of the Amaretto, and this is going to be our kind of base ingredients, which is going to be our liqueur and our spirit. And then to this, we're going to have our sourness, which is going to be freshly squeezed lemon juice. We're going to go for our emulsifier now because we don't need a sweetener, hence the Amaretto. And this is going to be something which you don't often see in an Amaretto sour, which I really like to add, which is pineapple juice. So as well as bringing texture and that really nice foamy mouthfeel when we shake the drink up, this is also a sweetener, but it also has acidity in there. So lots of complexity brought there. And the drink doesn't taste like pineapple, even though pineapple is delicious. It just brings something slightly different to the drink and an extra layer of dynamics. And then on that note, we've got some seasonings. Going to go saline solution, which is a 1:5 salt to water ratio. We're going to go vanilla extract, which again is a flavor which kind of bridges all these ingredients together really nicely. And then finally, we're going to go with some aromatic bitters. And I'm actually quite heavy-handed with this because the rest of the drink very much sits in the realm of sweet and sour, and bringing some really nice bitterness to the drink is a very welcome addition. So let's build our Amaretto Sour. So before we start mixing the drink, you just want to make sure your glassware is really nice and cold and you've got your ice on hand, so we can move nice and quickly and preserve the really cold temperature, which this drink really benefits from, and also the nice foamy texture, so you can serve it really kind of lively and awake. So we're going to be shaking the drink today, so we're going to be building it in a tin, and because we do have an emulsifier in here, which is the pineapple juice, you could double shake this, but a single shake here is going to be perfectly adequate. It's going to give it that really nice foamy texture if you shake nice and hard, and that's exactly what we want in the drink. So if you want to deep dive more into different mixing techniques, we actually covered this earlier in the course, which I'll link above, but we're going to start with 40 mils of our Amaretto. And this has got that really nice kind of nuttiness, some sweetness, obviously that really nice almond flavor, and it's just a really kind of strong, intense flavored base to the drink. And because it is so strong and intense, we want to kind of dial that down and bring up a little bit of alcohol in here, just to avoid the drink becoming too kind of sweet and sour without any kind of spirit behind it. So to 40 mils of Amaretto, I like to cut this with 20 mils of bourbon, ideally a high proof. So the addition of a higher ABV spirit like this one is credited to Jeffrey Morgenthaler, and it really does improve the drink. Our acidity is going to be 30 mils of freshly squeezed lemon juice, but you could also use lime juice here if you want a little bit more sharpness. It's just lemon's a little bit more traditional to the original recipe. And then, as I said earlier, pineapple juice is a bit of a secret weapon here. Not only does it bring acidity and sweetness, it brings a really nice texture, which you'll see in a second. So now we've got the core of the drink ready to go. You could shake this up and get a really delicious drink, but I think these seasonings really take it to the next level and just bring everything together really nicely and just kind of complement all the flavors. So first of all, we're going to go 1/2 gram or 0.5 grams of saline solution, which just brings all the flavors together. If you think of almonds as well, nuts and salt, a really delicious combination. Also, 0.3 grams of vanilla extract. And again, this is not designed to make the drink taste like vanilla. It's just a complementary flavor that works with pretty much everything in the drink. And then when it comes to bitters, I go pretty heavy-handed here, because I really want to add dimension to the sweetness and the acidity. And I think a depth of bitters is a really powerful thing to add. So I'm going to go 4 dashes of Scrappy's aromatic bitters. And that's equivalent to around about 2 to 2.5 grams. I'm going to add this to our shaker with lots of ice and give this a really good hard shake over ice. And if your ice isn't fresh out the freezer or the ice machine, you might want to give it a double shake just to get that nice texture whilst also chilling the drink. But because this is really cold ice, really big cubes, we're just going to shake it really, really nice and hard and fast, like so. Fine strain this over some nice big cubes of ice. I'm going to garnish with a fresh cherry, which complements the almond really nicely. And there we have a really nutty, sweet and sour, very lightly tropical, really well balanced Amaretto Sour. Enjoy.